was still a teacher then, still a teacher. And when they gave the boys to the father in 2002, they tried to, well, they just looked at a mum without her kids as someone who obviously, the courts had taken away, so she must have done something really wrong. Really wrong. I mean, maybe I was a druggo, maybe, but I was teaching every day. I was with children. They were observing me with children. I was put with someone to watch me the whole time in the classroom and write down every word I said, and that was all being fed through the head department of the education department. Stress was bad enough losing your kids, was bad enough losing your money, but to be watched every day like a hawk was just added to it. And I think I survived those years by the steps I learned as a child. Today was over and start tomorrow. So I didn't fall apart as everyone wanted me to fall apart. I didn't have breakdowns. I just kept on going. But when I lost my kids, I did ask for leave. At the end of 2004, when it was the final court stuff, well, not quite the final, from that part, I took some time off and went to Melbourne and spent 6 months with family, still teaching while I was down there, but I just needed space to myself. During that time, I was accused of smashing his car and doing a number of other things, and it was evident that came out through the courts that a lot of the stuff that he accused me of were things that he had done. And I was low. I drove to Canberra on the first night and had the dog, my car packed, put a few things into storage. I had friends in Canberra, and as I drove into Canberra, a truck jackknifed in front of me, and so I had to pull over. And the driver had purposely jackfired his car, his semi-trailer, to stop me, because I was driving on the wrong side, as if I was in America. And he sat down and he calmed me down, and it was just an angel sent to me, because he made sure that I got to my friend's place. And that night, my friends, I wanted to be not with them but alone, and no one would take a dog. In one of the best hotels in Canberra, the guy gave me one of the best rooms that I could stay in with the dog, which was totally against hotel policy, and charged me next to nothing. So although I was really low, there was all these things just kept on happening, one after the other. They kept on keeping me alive, keeping me on track, and just moving me forward. I got to Victoria, and my cousins, whose farm I was staying on, went overseas, and I was to look after the farm, and they got one of their friends to come and check on me and help me out with things. And he was actually a social worker who was visiting his children in Australia, who were living separate. And so talking to him was an amazing counselling situation, and helped me through a lot that I was back in the classroom teaching in 2005. Personally, this entire sequence took away my belief in Australia as a lucky country. It made me feel that I live in quicksand as far as the legal system is concerned. Financially, well, I've already said that, absolutely devastated me. I ended up in the bankruptcy courts. In my kids, losing them losing your children, losing contact and any form of life experience. 14 years I've lost without my kids. That's of grieving the loss of wanting to see them every day. On the family side, so much of the family turned around and said, courts would not have taken your children away or prevented you from contact unless you did something wrong. So you have to face that, and we don't want anything to do with you till you do. So they took up a friendship with him. So the majority of my family left me. On the social end, it was lots of people. I had to give up being a cub leader and lots of social activity I was in because people felt if I can't have my own kids, there's no way I should be allowed near other people's children. Even friends I'd had for years and years and years when I was scuba diving and doing things of that sort and sailing and all the active sports I did, they had kids about the same age. And although they tried to remain with me, there was always that situation that, where are your sons? Why aren't you with them? And when you've got kids, you know, most of your friendships are with other people with children. So not that they turned against me, but just that I was no longer part of a set that could be friends. Financially, I guess I had to start from the beginning. I was on the pension for a while, and I've just started. So no, I'll never be in a case that I will be able to be self-supportive. I will end up on the age pension. All of this is because of what the court took away from me. The court took my kids away from me because I had a vexatious husband who just went back and back to the courts, and they knew that he was going to come back regardless of what decision they made unless they gave him everything he wanted. So the courts did not find me incompetent in any way, but they felt that the legal stuff had to end. And so rather than dealing with his vexatious behaviour any other way, they chose knowingly to give children into the full custody of someone who the judge said would interrogate them subtly or otherwise. I'm sure most parents who lose contact with their kids, and I mean both mums and dads here, know what it's like to grieve the loss of someone. And it's like someone's died, a whole part of your life has left. And it's non-stop because every day you wake up with hope and wish that that day may bring them back to you. And each day it's a disappointment. And so there's always this darkness inside you, always this hope, but darkness. From where I'm standing, society looks at the way mothers who lose their children differently to fathers. They have sympathy for the father because they know that the father is most probably, some court ruling that's kept them. But with mothers, they say they've got to have done something awful to have had them taken off them, and they treat them very, very differently. I know it